Hi, it's Deb Phelps, Steps to Inner Peace, and I'm glad you're joining me today for our Self-Compassion number 2 talk. And I was thinking this week as I was reflecting, I had an extremely busy week, and I felt badly that I had not recorded something and got it up to the website a little bit sooner than I originally intended. And those sorts of situations can really start to have that inner critic, like we talked about last time, the inner critic coming in, can really have the inner critic really coming in and saying, well, look what you did. You promised something and you didn't fulfill it. And that can happen in so many areas in our lives, whether it's with family, with friends, work, what have you. One of the things that's really important as we come into this whole work with self-compassion is acceptance. Now, there's going to be unpleasant situations. We're going to encounter them all the time. It may be, as I said, something you promised and you didn't fulfill. I mean, we also have pleasant experiences, right? We receive maybe a kind email from an old friend, or we have a delightful conversation with a colleague, or we receive a nice compliment. But it's those distressing events, getting stuck in a traffic jam, having a dispute with somebody, not completing a task, or you have to do a task that you really don't want to do. So life does have these pleasant and unpleasant experiences in our life, and we have different strategies in dealing with them. With pleasant situations, experiences, we really embrace them and we want to hold on tightly to them, right? But due to the nature of the different strategies we have, we inevitably experience internal conflicts and struggles. So sooner or later, yeah, we do have those distressing experiences that take place. Like I shared, I wanted to have some material out to you, more material out to you earlier in the week, and it didn't happen. Now, they can be small events, like maybe forgetting an appointment, or it can be something more intense, which could be a death of a loved one, something like that. But we frequently try to forget these types of situations and all the feelings that go along with them, and we try to get over them as fast as we can, and we like to avoid those unpleasant situations and associated feelings that we have. Those unpleasant feelings are seemingly difficult for us to accept, and that's what results in struggle and conflict. We're conflicted between how things are now and how things should be. So how things are now, well, not too hot, right? Unwanted, to how things should be, what's wanted, what's good. And so creating this conflict makes it even more difficult to deal with the situation. After all, the situation did take place, the feeling is there, yet we do not wish for this to be part of our reality. Right? Just like I didn't want this material to get out later, but it's a fact of life. It's reality. It happened. Things came up. And so the question that we need to ask is, what hurts more, the event, and the emotion triggered by the event, or the internal struggle that we experience? So what happens is resistance comes in. We try to control an experience, and if we try to do that, it takes up a lot of energy. And if we do that, well, then we don't have energy for other things. So in my situation, if I was really trying to make things happen, really resisting that, well, you ran out of time in certain days, certain areas. I don't have, if I'm worried and consumed by feeling irresponsible, for instance, and these are a couple of feelings that came up. Now, I worked with self-compassion on this, of course, but these are things that did come up in my mind. We try everything that we can do to win the battle, and all it does is exhaust us. I mean, that's what I felt. I felt some exhaustion one of the days when I felt really badly. But, when we suppress that feeling and pretend it's not there, the feeling actually increases. So being with whatever it is, and that's part of self-compassion, if we resist that feeling, it's going to continue to exist. And you've probably heard what we resist persists, right? So acceptance plays a big part, a big role in mindfulness. And so rather than trying to avoid or control an experience, mindfulness helps us to allow experiences to be present and to take their natural course. Now, why do I bring this up in relation to self-compassion? Well, what happens with when we're not compassionate to ourselves, right? We start to criticize ourselves relentlessly, right? But if we can be present with what is, that, oh, I forgot somebody's birthday, or I didn't get to a task that I wanted to do, and I can just be with that feeling. The feeling is permitted to be there. The thoughts and feelings are there anyway, really. But now if I apply mindfulness, I'm not struggling with the feelings or thoughts, and allowing and accepting our central concepts in mindfulness. So by giving up that struggle against the feelings and thoughts we have, we're saving energy. But now we also experience the natural course of emotions and feelings, and we watch them fade away all by themselves. And after all, they're temporary, only temporary. But when we accept and we allow them to take their natural course, we can notice that the feelings and emotions become less intense, and they may even go away faster than when we struggle or fight them. Now, case in point, I was teaching a mindfulness class, an introduction to mindfulness class at my studio here in Madison, Meditate Madison. And somebody in the class was saying that they had a lot of pain in their neck. And so at the very end, I did a short process with being mindful of the pain. Now, sometimes it seems like, well, that must be counterintuitive to focus on the pain. Oh my gosh, it's going to hurt more if I focus on the pain. But in fact, when I can be aware of the pain, when I can be the observer of the pain, where I can watch the pain. Now, this could be physical or mental, emotional. So we can just watch that. And as this person did, at the end of, it was only like a 5-minute process or so, this person noticed that the pain eased up more than it had in a while. And see, that's the thing, when we can just allow what's there to be there without the judgment, then we can move through whatever that storm is a little bit quicker, a little bit more easily, right? So mindfulness teaches us to focus attention on experiences without judging them. We no longer refer to experiences as this is a good experience and this is a bad experience. We just accept them for what they are, that they're right there, right now, and then they're not going to be. So when an emotion is allowed to persist, and you can practice the mindfulness, you can see the temporary nature of the emotion, because it will come and go by itself. So when we allow these experiences to take their natural course, well, then we are freeing ourselves, we're liberating ourselves from the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts, right? And so now we are observing instead of being a participant in the feeling. Okay? And whether it's a pleasant experience, whether it's an unpleasant experience. So to change these conflicts and struggle, we have to be aware that the fact that we experience a conflict or struggle. So, in very intense situations, this is not so difficult. We are aware that not only our thoughts are conflicted, but our physical sensations. If we're experiencing tension in our body, a lot of times we hold that tension in our shoulders. Oftentimes the conflict or resistance can take very subtle forms as well. Irritation, impatience, frustration, all could be present, and we're hardly even aware of them. And so I'm going to give you a short exercise right now, and it helps us to become more aware of what we're feeling this very moment. So this exercise has 3 different sections, and it only takes 3 minutes to complete. Okay? So the first one is awareness. So you ask yourself the question, how am I doing right now? And focus your attention on the inner perception. Notice which thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations you are experiencing. So if you want to do that right now with me, ask yourself, how am I doing right now? How am I doing right now? What's my inner perception? What thoughts, feelings, what am I feeling physically? What's coming up? And so as you're doing that, try to put these experiences into words. For example, I'm having self-critical thoughts, or I notice I'm tense in my shoulders or my chest. And what are you feeling in your body? Right? And allow yourself to feel what you're feeling in the current moment and accept it. You can tell yourself that whatever you're feeling is okay. Whatever is there is fine, just the way it is. So the next one is breathing. So next, pay full attention to your breath. Follow the breathing with your attention. Follow the breathing, the inhale and the exhale. Inhale, exhale, and just do that for a minute. If your mind wanders, just bring it back to the breath, the inhale and the exhale. You can even do a few deep breaths if you like. Now the last one is expansion of attention. So allow your attention to expand to the rest of your body. And then feel your breath move throughout your whole body. And with every inhale, you can feel your body expand a little. And with each exhale, it shrinks a little. So during this exercise, certain thoughts or feelings might distract you, distract your attention, and just simply notice them. You can decide to observe these thoughts and feelings for a while, and then gently, without judgment, just return your attention back to your breath or your body. So by doing this exercise, can help us to get in touch with what we're feeling. A lot of times we don't know what we're feeling. And then it also helps us to turn acceptance into a more natural, automatic response. So instead of reinforcing the automatic tendency to avoid negative experiences and struggle with any positive experiences, this exercise can teach us a new response, acceptance. But what is acceptance? Well, there's a lot of understandings considering the role of acceptance in mindfulness. And when we hear this, most people think that, well, I say yes to everything and I let people walk all over me. Well, no, that's not what acceptance is within mindfulness. It has a completely different meaning. And it means that a situation occurs, and this situation evokes feelings. This does not imply that you actually agree with the situation, okay? So when I started thinking, and my schedule was getting tight, I had unexpected things occur, and I'm noticing that I'm feeling stressed, that I'm not getting what I'd like to get done to present to you. And so some of the feelings that came up for me was a little bit of frustration, a little bit of feeling overwhelmed, a little bit about feeling irresponsible in not getting these materials to you. So that doesn't mean that I say that I'm irresponsible, right? It's not defining who I am. It's just, these are feelings that I have, and the feelings are okay, but they don't define who I am. And you see, this is how we can be compassionate to ourselves, by realizing that it's just a feeling. We don't have to agree with the situation that, oh, I didn't have enough time, I had other things come up and got in the way, and I could get angry about that or whatever. It's okay, this is what is. And it takes time to work on this, but when you do, you bring more peace into your life. And no longer do you feel the need to blame anyone or anything outside of you. You're being with your feelings, and that's what happens, is that we sidestep what we're feeling and we place it on someone else or something else, right? There's nothing wrong with experiencing what we're feeling. We can be accepting of that feeling. It's if we, if we're angry and we take it out on somebody else, for instance. I can sit and be with my anger, and I have in the past. I can do that by being mindful and saying, oh, I'm angry. Can I still stay calm yet still be angry? And the answer is, yeah, you can. So but if you do get into those really intense emotions, sometimes it's impossible to be in that state of acceptance. And of course, it'll be back and forth. Acceptance, resistance, acceptance, resistance. It's okay. Just try to see yourself with love and kindness when you do. So that little exercise that I just did, try to practice that and see what happens. I'd like to hear what happens for you. And maybe be conscious as you go about the next week about the way in which you're dealing with distressing or pleasant situations. Can you notice when there's resistance coming up, and how are you going to deal with that resistance? And if you do meditate, certainly take the time to do so. And if you don't, I recommend that you do. And I'll have a guided meditation for you to get started, at least. And there's been a few already. Notice the resistance that you have if you're about to sit down for meditation. Perhaps you don't feel like it. Maybe you feel a strong urge just to quit. Just try to become aware of that conflict that we have. Sometimes when we're trying to do those very good things for ourselves, that's when we want to quit. That's when we feel the resistance. Can I accept these thoughts of how I'm feeling about sitting down to do this, this exercise practice, or the meditation, what have you? And if your physical sensations come up, the same thing. Maybe you're feeling some cramping pain, or maybe your back's sore, that sort of thing. Can you change your position a little bit? Can you be aware and accept, okay, this is what's going on. I see that. I see my lower back's hurting a little bit. What kind of pain is it? Oh, it's a little bit of a throbbing pain. Okay, I can accept that. And just notice what your thoughts do as you go through this. And as I said, this is part of self-compassion, having some acceptance, bringing that acceptance into your life. So thanks for watching, and as we continue on our steps to inner peace, I wish you much peace. Namaste.